Brodes Media.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Before we attack this matchup, if you are new to the channel, make sure you smash that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button as well. I greatly appreciate all the support. Thank you so much. Over on Twitter, @Brodes81, that is my personal Twitter account. Make sure you follow me there. And then check out the blogs, the content I'm creating on the website, brodesmedia.com. We're implementing a lot more writing content. I'm having a ton of fun. Check that out. And that being said, enjoy the show. What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Brodes. Okay, the Eagles head to Carolina. We're 4 games into the season, heading into the 5th. It pretty is absurd. It pretty damn is absurd. That sentence made no sense. It's absurd that we are flying through the season this quickly, but it always happens that way. Here's what I do know. Entering the season, I saw this squad as a 6-win team. And as we analyze each game, I question, okay, is this one where I think they can win? I definitely saw it in Atlanta. Due to how they played in Atlanta, I convinced myself it was possible against San Francisco. And to be fair, they hung in there, but ultimately, we understood who the better squad was. So, well, they lost. And then you look at the last 2 games, Kansas City, Dallas, there was no way in hell. So let's fast forward to where we are right now. When we look at Carolina, take away their record because they played the New York Jets. They played the Houston Texans, who scored 9 damn points. Okay, they played the New Orleans Saints, who do not beat the world on fire here. They don't set the world on fire. So with that said, I look at this as a winnable game. Now, that doesn't mean they are going to win, but if we're analyzing this as a 6-win squad, this is definitely an outing where they can come home with a victory. It's not going to be easy. They have rushers who can really do some damage. You know, by the way, this Lane Johnson news is still flirting around, and we really don't know what's happening there. I really hope everything's okay with him, though. It definitely is concerning from a personal standpoint. It does seem, pretty tough. It seems to be in a really tough spot. So I just hope everything's okay there. But just in terms of on the football field, Mailata returning. How are you going to play this out with your offensive line? Do you keep Andre Dillard at left tackle, slide Jordan Mailata to right tackle, and Jack Driscoll plays right guard? Do you take Andre Dillard out, put Jordan Mailata back into his natural spot, which is the left tackle, and then you keep Herbig at right guard and Jack Driscoll at right tackle? I tend to lean towards Dillard staying at left, Mailata going to right because he's versatile and can do both, and then put Jack Driscoll in at right guard, and boom, there you go. That's how I would handle things. But look, you have Burns and you have Riddick, and those 2 guys can create turnovers. Their defense is very interesting when you look at Carolina because there are opportunities to exploit matchups. You could wait for it, run the damn football down their throats. That's definitely a way to generate some yards and to move the sticks. And you can also take advantage of possibly the passing game as well with throwing the football to Devontae Smith, right? They had to make a move because they went after Horn at the draft. He ends up getting injured, and then they call Jacksonville. Hey, what are you thinking? Make a move. Pick him up. Can the Eagles take advantage of that secondary? It's possible. It's there. But you also need to get the ball out quick, which has been their identity when things have been going well. Games 1 and Game 4, the football moved down the field at a respectful pace because of the way that, hey, you hike the ball, you snap the ball, you take away what they're so good at, which is getting to the quarterback, creating havoc, right? Making you feel uncomfortable in the pocket based off of the ability to rush. Well, get it out quick. Get it to Quez. Get it to Rager. Get it to Sanders. Get it to Gainwell. Get it to your playmakers. And that ties perfectly, though, with this Jalen Hurts situation that we're in right now with this city. There are people putting him on a pedestal that are saying he's one of the best in the league. Look at his numbers. And then there are some saying he's not good enough. He can't make the long throw at all. And I'm somewhere in between. Here's why you can't just base your statistics or base your your point just off of numbers. The numbers don't tell the full story. According to Pro Football Focus, which I will say every damn time, I'm not the biggest believer in the world in their system in some areas, so I'm not live and die by Pro Football Focus by any means. But I will let you know what they are saying. The Philadelphia Eagles lead the league in receiving yards after the catch. 730, which is not like a grading out scale where it's completely different than this offensive lineman graded out this way, or, this wide receiver graded out this way. It's a little different because we're basing this off of receiving yards after the catch. But they lead the league in 738 receiving yards after the catch. I credit Nick Sirianni because they're doing something right, knowing the flaws of Jalen Hurts, which means there are flaws of Jalen Hurts. Now, 23 years old, super young, first real action as the starting quarterback legitimately, not last year's garbage. Just first attack at it. He's with a rookie head coach, not running the football, helping him out. I'm with you. I'm not saying he can't get better. I'm not saying he can't grow. He's actually exceeded my expectations. In the games that he played well, he exceeded my expectations. But I expected this to be up and down throughout, though. Great games, bad games, average games. That's kind of what I anticipated seeing this season. Jalen Hurts, I like what I've seen so far. I have question marks just like anybody else, but you can't just base the fact on, look how many yards he has. If he's in the conversation with, throughout this first 8 games, Cam Newton, Pat Mahomes, Andrew Luck, if you're being honest with yourself, do you put Jalen Hurts in that category? Because you shouldn't. Not right now. No. So the yards don't mean a damn thing for me right now. They're not running. He's dropping back 1 billion times per game. He's throwing the football. They lead the league in just running the ball after the catch. So those numbers are flawed in terms of how well and how unbelievable he's really playing. Like some of the fans are saying that look at his numbers and say this is amazing. He's been playing well at times. He played really good last game. He played very strong in game 1. It's okay to say there's deficiencies there, and it's also okay to say that he can get better at those deficiencies. But acknowledge them and stop putting him in this area of, this is so special. It's not so special. Jalen Hurts has not been so special. And it's okay to say that. I'm rooting for the kid. I want him to succeed. I want him to be the franchise quarterback. I think he's got everything intangible-wise. He's got everything surrounding the game, and he's a sharp kid. He's a sharp kid. I really want him to work out. It's a growing process. I'm aware. I think we just got to cool the Jets in one way, and then the idiots who think he just sucks completely and will never be good, you shut up as well, and then we'll meet somewhere in the middle, which is where he is, and that's okay. After the 17 games, we'll assess from a overlook and say, okay, what do you do with these 3 draft picks right now that are looking good? Because the Eagles are losing games, Miami's losing games, and the Indianapolis Colts are losing some games. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. It frustrates me that we have to get in this debate and split the city up every single damn time we go through it, but I guess that's inevitable and there's no way around it. With the run game, though, this all goes back to run the football, take advantage of where they have flaws. And, oh, by the way, that can open up the game for Jalen Hurts to use his legs more. That can open up play action. And I'm sure by now everybody heard the fantastic quote being thrown around with the Chargers of how important the run game is. RPOs are great, and there's plenty of things that you can do to be an extension of your run game, if you will, which is fine. And I'm willing to understand that, that there's ways to implement a, quote, run game without it necessarily being a run, if you will. That's part of football. But there's also a physicality part of football. Coming off of your blocks, making your tackles. And the more that you throw the ball over and over and over again, I'm sure everybody heard this. It was going viral on Twitter last week. You throw the ball and it's a pass out of bounds or it's an incomplete pass. Linebackers aren't coming off block. Linebackers aren't making tackles and running downfield. There's a physical draining element to running the ball where throughout 4 quarters you start getting into the third, late into the third. How is that defense holding up? How's that defensive line? What are the linebackers like, right? There's so many variables here to running the rock that's more than just he gained 2 yards, he gains 8 yards. But I would also like to see more from Miles Sanders in terms of I see frustration. I see him throwing the football down at the ground, and I understand why he's upset. He should have the ball in his hands way more than what he does. But I also feel if you watch him and you watch Kenneth Gainwell and their approach to it, it's almost as if Kenneth Gainwell is, give me that fucking ball right now. Give me that fucking ball. I'm going to make a play. And Miles Sanders, and I don't know if it's faulty on his part or whatever, but it's like he knows that I have to make a play because I'm not going to get the ball if not, and he's trying to overdo it. It seems like it's like grabbing the baseball bat too hard when you're up to the dish, or swinging the golf club. You're focusing too much. You're grabbing it too tightly, holding the stick too tightly, backdoor, wide open net. Here comes the puck. You miss it. It seems like Sanders is somewhat of having that approach, and like I said, I don't know if I'm faulting him for that, but there's a way that I'm seeing his demeanor, his body language. He's allowing it to defeat him. And I think he's got to kind of switch that element a little bit. He's got to switch that mindset. Not easy, but find a way. None of this is easy. You're playing in the National Football League, but give him the ball more. I don't know if I anticipate it, though. I think we're going to see something very similar to what we saw against Kansas City. Get the ball out quick and attack from there. And they move the ball fine. They move the ball fine without running total-wise. They have to do better when it comes to red zone. And they have to do better with running the ball in timely situations. Keep the defense on their toes by run. I think their lack of running hurts them in that red zone area, and that's where they kind of get themselves into trouble a bit. There's a way to win this football game, though. Is McCaffrey going to play? I sure hope not. But maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. We don't have that information right now. It's going to make the linebackers that much more of an emphasis, though. That's for damn sure. They already are. Every team is looking in that direction. Every team is trying to target Jonathan Gannon's zone, looking at the linebackers and exposing them. Christian McCaffrey would do damage against Eric Wilson and Alex Singleton. I'm at the point now where I'm willing to make a change. And if they get annihilated, so be it. So are the ones out there right now. Davion Taylor, where you at? TJ Edwards, where you at? Just give them some run. It can't hurt. This is bad. This is real bad. But look, Carolina has some playmakers. Moore. Keep an eye out on Moore. Now, I know Robbie Anderson would like to have some more splash plays involved. Maybe that's something that works. Although, according to Jonathan Gannon's defense, they don't allow those 20-plus yard plays. They just allow people to gash you through the middle and then hit you in that intermediate throws and kind of kill you with that as well. He's got no idea what he's doing. His answers were bizarre with the press conference. Didn't look steady. Didn't look, I don't know, prepared up there answering the question. Then Fletch speaks, and this bothers me a lot. I got to give a lot of credit to Les Bowen, and I'll tell you why in just a moment after I explain. But when I hear Fletcher Cox talk about sometimes I'm playing the 3, sometimes I'm playing the 4-eye, and it's hard to kind of get into a rhythm throughout a game when you're changing your position so much. If I'm Jonathan Gannon, and this is where I'm giving Les Bowen the credit, I'm looking at my major guy, my key contributor, my number one defensive player, and saying, Fletch, how do you want to be played? Or how do you want to be utilized? What fits you the best? What fits you well? How can we get the most out of you, Fletch? How do you feel the most comfortable? Right? You're talking about your star guys, your top key contributors, your leaders. Hey, BG, Fletch, Slay, what are you thinking? Fellas, what are you thinking? I want to hear from you. I'm sure you want to hear from me about some of my ideas here. Let's work together on this. Put your players in the position to succeed. That's what we were told. Fletch, that's not happening. You can tell he's kind of frustrated about it. He's got to be better. There's no doubt about it. 1,000% I'm looking at you, Fletcher Cox, the individual. You have to perform better. At the same time, though, I don't know if Jonathan Gannon has a clue. Take away something. Make them one-dimensional. Can't do it at all. You're getting beat in 2 ways in the passing game. Even though you can look at your 20-plus yards, you're still getting beat in the passing game. Long, methodical drives. Now, this is their mindset. We're forcing you to make a mistake defensively, like the Eagles on the defensive side. They're going to force you to make a mistake by allowing you to run the ball instead of throwing it, which means more plays. More plays ran, more opportunities for a mistake. Sam Darnold's not Pat Mahomes. Sam Darnold is not Dak Prescott and that Kellen Moore-led offense. So with that said, is there something to that philosophy actually working out against a quarterback that stinks? It worked against Matt Ryan, and they could have. It was an intentional grounding. They got to the quarterback late. It could have been a fumble and then a recovery by the Eagles. Is it possible? Because they missed opportunities. Darius Slay dropped an interception. Anthony Harris dropped an interception. Steven Nelson could have had an interception. There have been opportunities for picks. There's been opportunities for plays. They just haven't cashed in on them. Is there something to be said about maybe this plan working against the Sam Darnold? You know what I would do, though? I'd try and get him in pressure. Because, you know what, I think Sam Darnold, thinking on his toes, maybe hippity-hop in the pocket, could be a way to kind of get to him as well. Put pressure on Sam Darnold. Get to him. Get pressure. It's supposed to be the top part of this defense while they're having a really tough time. Brandon Graham or no Brandon Graham, the only guy who's kind of getting after it is Javon Hargrave and Josh Sweat here and there, but he's also jumping the gun and putting himself in a bad spot with penalties. And by the way, penalties. Clean up your penalties. We're trying to find this team and their direction. We're trying to see which way they go and how they take steps forward. Start peeling back with these penalties. Less penalties. If they're in the double digits, if they're at 9 again, we're seeing no fix. We were told that Nick Sirianni was harsher in that department, really drilling that area. Are they listening? If not, we'll see it. We'll see 9, 10 penalties. If they're not listening, that's a problem. That's a message problem. That's a lack of respect problem. You're not listening to the head coach. Penalties, all comes back to the head coach. The way the team is being led. And Matt Rule's doing a good job of leading that team, but they're also not sensational, right? They're one of those teams where this is just the feel of it. They start out hot. Let's say they start out 3-0, or let's say they beat the Eagles. They're 4-1. You could see them being maybe there's 17 games this season, so it changes it. But if it was a 16-game season, let's say, just because that's where our memory bank is, that's how we still kind of look at football. They'd be a 9-win team. So they start out 4-1, but they end up being a 9-win team. Or they start out 4-1, but they become a 10-win team where, yeah, they put themselves in a fine position because of their early start, but maybe as the season plays out, you see some of their issues, you see some of their flaws as well. I'm interested to see how they go with the left tackle with Andre Dillard, who did have some penalties, and the way that the RPO is playing out, he's getting out in front of it as well, and it's causing some issues there with the flow of the offense. Does he continue to play left tackle? Do they switch things around? How great does Mailata look at right tackle if he does play there? Like, it's funny. I'm hearing Ruben Frank. I'm listening to Shil Kapadi of The Athletic, and Ruben Frank, of course, NBC Sports Philadelphia. They talk about the fact that this is their line and they have a very serviceable line, being down 3 or 4 linemen is absurd. Absurd. You have to give them credit. They might have their issues. They might have their hiccups. No team can put this down. Like, if Dillard and Mailata, and I heard Shil Kapadi actually say this morning, those two at the tackle position, if that's what left tackle and right tackle, like the fact that those are your 2 tackles is insanely solid. Then the fact that that's your backup is wild. Yeah. Put some respect on the O-line, even though it's been a little wonky and it's been a little ugly and uncomfortable at times. It's ultimately still amazing that they're there, giving them a chance to fight in a game. All right, we're going to get to the Anytime Hotline now. Before we do, my friends over at BetQL. Do you want to get an advantage over your sportsbook? You need to download BetQL, the only app you'll need to make smart bets. Their best bet computer model scans over 350,000 unique bets per year to give you a best bet recommendation for every game across all major sports and gives you the reasoning behind why you should place the bet. Their model covers everything: spreads, over-unders, and player prop bets. There is sharp data so you can see who the professionals are backing. Line movements so you can jump on betting opportunities in real time. Head to the App Store or Google Play Store right now to download BetQL. Enter the discount code Brodes at payment checkout for 25% off of their subscription offerings. You can find this information in the description below. Now, I have the Eagles-Panthers game up right now so I can give you some of that. The spread, Panthers -3. They have the Panthers favored by 4 points, which is a 1-point difference from the current line. With the money line, they have the Panthers at minus 160. They have the Panthers at 204, which the books out there have them at 165. It's a 39-point difference. The Eagles are 6-13 in all games while on the road over the last 3 years. And on the money line, 70% of the professional bettors are taking the Carolina Panthers. So that's just a little bit of a tease of the information you can grab on BetQL. It gives you trends. It gives you what they see as the spread compared to what the sports book have at the spread. And maybe, you think, oh, hold on, there's something there. They get an extra point. Wow, maybe we should look in this direction. It's fantastic. So make sure you check out BetQL. All right, and we're going to go over now to the Anytime Hotline, which is brought to you by Orbit Energy and Power. With over 20 years of industry experience, Orbit Energy and Power is home to your solar experts in residential and commercial projects. At Orbit, they're dedicated to making sure your project is completed easily and properly. Orbit Energy and Power provides water purification systems, solar energy systems, backup energy services, battery storage, electrical upgrades, new roofs, heating and cooling, and so much more. Check out their information. It is also down below. Okay, we paid the bills. Let's now go to you and your reaction on what you think you're about to see on Sunday afternoon.
Hey, Brodes. Carolina coming up this week. In the foot. That's all that I really ask. Let's not make basic mistakes. Let's not take stupid penalties. When it's first and goal, just run the ball. Let's just not make these basic mistakes that we've been making throughout the past 4 games. And I think maybe we would have actually a pretty solid chance of winning this one.
I agree. I really do. If you clean up the self-inflicting wounds, which is difficult, that's part of their identity. That's part of their brand. There's no doubt about it. That is who the Eagles are this year, and it's been consistent for the first whole month of the season. So it is part of them. To think that they're magically going to snap their fingers and it be eliminated is just probably false expectations. But can it be limited? I can't believe I'm about to say this, but can we get down to something in the single-digit department of the flags? And is that going to keep us at least happy? No, not if it's 9 or so. But let's say there's 6 penalties. Let's say there's 5 penalties. Less shooting yourself in the foot. They were hanging in there with the Chiefs after doing it all night. Now, so did the Chiefs, though. They could have had an interception. Andy Reid ended up not challenging the fumble on Kenneth Gainwell. There was I don't know if it was a delay of game, but illegal formation, and maybe a delay a game. I don't know. I'm trying to remember exactly the sequence there. They ended up scoring. It was that 3rd and long that Pat Mahomes ran up the sideline after those penalties occur, and it was a backbreaker throughout that drive. But I'm curious because we've seen high-powered offense now twice, 2 weeks in a row. The Dallas Cowboys can score. Moving the ball around, using both of their backs. They're very creative and innovative. Dak Prescott is playing very strongly. They know what they're doing right now. The Kansas City Chiefs, they might not be in their purest form. They might not be in their, their elite form, but they can score. They know how to go up and down the field. They're very methodical, and they're running the ball this year as well with Clyde. They're getting a different element to kind of switch things up, to change the gear a bit. So they're doing it in a different way. They're getting used to what the 2021 Chiefs are going to be. My point of bringing this up is Sam Darnold, and I got a bunch of respect for their coaching staff. I have so much respect for, what Sam Darnold has done this season outside of the New York Jets. You can see the toxic environment that Adam Gase left there and the fact that they have no clue how to operate. Is this Panthers team going to do the same thing? Now, McCaffrey's a stud. If he's in and he's playing, yeah, he might. He might. If he's not playing, DJ Moore, is that enough? Should that be enough? Should Sam Darnold be able to carve you up, Jonathan Gannon? It shouldn't look anything like the last couple weeks. Get a stop. Get a big stop. Fight. Give me something. Be in there. 3rd and long. Should we try 3rd and long for once, fellas? 3rd and shorts. They get 4 yards. Now it's 2nd and 6. Get 4 yards on first down. 2nd and 6, right? Now it's 3rd and 3. Manageable. Consistently. You got to do a tougher job, man. You got to be more up in their nose. Instead of the read and react. They're not good enough to read and react, Jonathan. Meet them before they get there. Don't even allow them to get to where they want to be. You're allowing them yards and then reacting. How about we just don't allow them to get yards? You ever think of that mentality? You're going to have to give up some. I get it. And he even said that. There are some things that the fans are unhappy about, but we'll be willing to live with those, and we'll keep that in-house because that's part of our game plan and our strategy. Yeah, we get it. We know how it works. You're basically saying we'd rather keep you underneath and get beat over the top. Sure. But guess what? With how soft this coverage is, it's way too soft of a zone. It's the NFL, bro. They're going to consistently get that chunk yardage in those intermediate plays and things of that nature. It's just consistent beating you. So you might have to work on things, Jonathan. All right, what's next?
Okay, here's where I'm at with the Eagles. Division title not happening. Playoffs not happening. But this game to me Sunday is important. Excuse me. This is what I call a 50-50 game. This game, when you look at it on the schedule, you say this is one that the Eagles have a chance of winning. And if you think that the team is going to end up with, let's say, 6 to 7 wins, this is the type of game they have to win. Regardless of how it turns out, they're not beating Tampa and they're not beating the Raiders. So, again, I think this game is important, and I think the Eagles are going to pull it out. I think they're going to win this one 23-17.
Yeah, I agree completely with that. If you think about this squad winning 4 games, 5 games, 6 games, these are the type of victories that you need to pull out. You got to go on the road, and this would be a nice win for this team. Growth, taking the right steps. Nick Sirianni on the road after starting out 1-3, and Jonathan Gannon, this young coaching staff and this young quarterback, knowing that if they fall down 1-4, they have 2 really strong teams coming up, 2 really strong opponents. This is a solid game for them in terms of preparation, knowing what's on the line. Look, each game, week to week, Sunday, you're going to be ready and you're going to be focused and, you're going to be dialed in just to that specific week. That's the football life. But ultimately, you know that there's more added to this. You can't fall behind 1-4 with Tom Brady coming to town on a short week. You can't with the Vegas Raiders after that, who's playing strong football right now. So, let's see what you got. This will be a big test. This is a good, solid team you're going up against. How do you respond? This is a big one. I like this. I like the storyline. I like the team. See, sometimes it's about who you're playing, when you're playing them, what losses you're coming off of. Like, that all matters. And I even said when they went to Dallas, right? They lost to San Francisco. They were 1-1. How do you respond? I wouldn't want to see it any other way than against Dallas. And they failed that one big time. Nick Sirianni, this isn't the same caliber. On the road, Monday Night Football, in your biggest rival. That's not what we're witnessing. But this is a step. This is a stepping stone type of game that I like the storylines. I like who you're playing against. Can you answer the bell? I really hate to do this. I don't want to dive too deep into it. But I did look through the Eagles' full schedule the other day and looked at the back half. And, we talk about the win total and all. I do feel that they have an opportunity after they break through this horrendous start to have us feel in a certain way where maybe they win 2 games out of 3. Win 1, lose 1, win 1. We're like, hey, they won 2 out of 3 games. Whether that comes from the Jets and the Giants. Like, there's a stretch of Giants, Jets, Washington. November 28th, December 5th, December 19th. I really don't want to look too far ahead. I don't, but I'm just saying, you think of that win total, and I'm not telling you they're not. Let me be clear. They're not in the position to write off wins against bad teams. They're probably going to split. You split with Washington. You split with New York, but that's 2 more wins added to the one they already have. Now they're at 3 wins. I do sense that towards the end we might feel better about the flow, but we're feeling better if we're being honest with ourselves because they're playing horrendous teams. That's not the goal here. The goal is not just like, hey, if you're better than the worst teams, we're happy. No, it gets to the point where when you look at Carolina on the road, it's, we're going to win that game. No, they might. They have a chance to compete. No, they're going to win this game. We got to get back to that level of confidence. And with Carson Wentz coming off the books, a lot of salary cap, a lot of assets, a lot of draft capital. Maybe it's sooner rather than later, but we got to figure out what we have here now first. And there's, 14, 13 more games to do that? All right, let's take another one.
Brodes, Football Friday. Let's get it, man. It doesn't look like Lane Johnson's going to play, bro. It's kind of a bummer. Although, O-line, I'm not concerned about the O-line, man. They played considerably well last week, considering what happened with Lane Johnson and 4 of the 5 starters being out. It seems like Jason Kelsey's good at leading that group, and they did well last week. The Carolina defense, it's pretty solid. It's not super scary. Obviously Gilmore not playing this week. But the main thing I'm looking at from this game is, can they get pressure on Sam Darnold? And I think that's what everyone's looking at. You get pressure on Sam Darnold, he's going to see ghosts again. They said the same thing about Derek Carr. You get pressure on Sam Darnold, you can win this game. The Panthers have some weapons. They don't have anything crazy. They have Robbie Anderson. But other than that,
well, they have DJ Moore as well, and he's probably the first name that should have been mentioned. But yeah, you're right in terms of getting pressure. I just don't know if I can rely on this team to be getting pressure. They have not to this point, unless something changes. But it seems like they're staying put. They're putting their foot down. This is what we believe in. These are the concepts we want to run. But unfortunately, it's not helping out the team right now. They have to get more creative with getting rushers. They do, and it's not as simple as just blitz, send an extra blitzer. Yeah, there's times. What upsets me, though, is with the dime package. You want to know why Eric Wilson's standing there and he just has a clear mismatch against Tyreek Hill? Hey, why don't we work with some of the concepts that you don't right now? Because you need to. Stop sticking with the traditional base right now. Like, let's go. You got to move on from that a little bit. Because teams are going to expose it. If you start sending, first off, blitzing is a craft. You need players who know how to do it. I don't think they do. And on top of that, there's going to be someone wide open when that happens. When the Eagles were about to play Dallas, everyone said blitz Dak. Dak against the blitz. No. You drop back in coverage, he struggles a lot more. The numbers, at least at that time, of course, it's 1 month into the season, so there are some skewed numbers and skewed statistics, not enough of a sample size yet. Maybe you haven't seen great teams. Maybe you've only seen great teams, sort of like Indianapolis. You start out the season with that gauntlet that they're going through right now. It's pretty damn brutal. I think they'll kind of ease up and it'll, it'll go in another direction as the season plays out. But what I wanted to say on that front was, and I don't remember, I lost my train of thought. Let me see if I can work myself through this. I do this at times. We were talking about the pressure. Oh, Jonathan Gannon. Yes, here we go. You gotta, it's not that easy. It's not that easy just to blitz. You gotta do it in ways where timely, or you gotta win your battles. You gotta just win your battles in the trenches and use your players properly to do so. More than just Javon Hargrave, because that's not going to be enough. One man. For as great as Javon Hargrave's been, the pressure has not been enough, and that's very clear. So something has to change, Jonathan. And with that said, we're going to shut things down here. I will say my prediction of the game, I will go with Eagles 24, Panthers 21. How about that? Eagles 24, Panthers 21. I don't know if because I'm giving them a chance to win, I'll pick them to win, because I'm not going to do that very often this season. But do I really think they're going to get it done? Probably not. They might come up just short, but they have an opportunity to win this game. I really do believe that, so I'll pick them 24-21, but I don't know if I fully believe it. That's maybe a fugazi answer, and I apologize for giving you that, but you'll love me for giving you this. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, has a Week 5 offer every football fan should jump on. New customers can bet just $1 on any NFL game and win $100 in free bets if either team scores a point. The last 0-0 tie in the NFL was in 1943, so I'd say this is a no-brainer. DraftKings customers also can get skin in the game with the new same-game parlays. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code Brodes. Bet just $1 on any NFL game and win $100 in free bets if either team scores a point. That's promo code Brodes this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older, Pennsylvania only, new customers only. Restrictions apply in partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, everybody, I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Go Birds! We'll see if they can do it on Sunday afternoon. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.